12.
Exactly 100 years ago tonight, the Titanic set sail on its first and last journey. More than 650 relatives of the victims attended a ceremony today in Southampton, England, where the ship departed on its maiden voyage that was ultimately going to end up in New York City. Family members threw flowers and wreaths into the water to honor the lives of more than 1,500 people killed when the Titanic sank on the morning of April 15. A Bloomington man was one of about 2,000 people who boarded the Titanic 100 years ago tonight.
The Night Beat's David McAnally with the story of a man known as the Stone King. David.
Anne-Marie, he started working on the Monon Railroad as a telegraph operator, then got into real estate, quarries, and lumber, then disappeared into history. In Bloomington's Rose Hill Cemetery, rush and you'll miss a brush with history. Does it give you a little bit of a chill, this mystery right over the hill there?
No, it intrigues me.
100 years ago, John Bertram Crafton was sick, homesick for Indiana. He'd visited European health spas for weeks.
He had developed arthritis problems. I think at that point in time he was willing to try just about anything to get some relief from the pain that he was in.
In 1912, they called Crafton
the Stone King and Mr. Stone Man. He
made his fortune on Indiana limestone, a self-made man.
He was known as a Hoosier millionaire because he was worth $50,000.
But on April 10, 1912, Crafton just wanted to get home. He traded in his ticket for one on a faster ship, paid 26 pounds, $2,300 today, for a first-class stateroom aboard the Titanic.
His family was uncertain that he was even on the Titanic.
At Bloomington's Monroe County History Center, records show for days after learning of this,
iceberg, dead ahead, sir.
The Stone King's wife clung to hope like a rock.
A couple of weeks that he was still alive and that possibly a passing ship had picked him up or that he had made his way onto a lifeboat, but she finally embraced that he was not coming home.
Like hundreds of other passengers, his body was never identified, but he is remembered here at the old Rose Hill Cemetery in his hometown, in a stone that he actually had cut a decade before he died. This phrase added later.
Lost on the Titanic.
New Hoosier generations now explore the Titanic era at the History Center.
The name will hold so much power because of what happened and how tragic it was.
The more we can learn, the more we're connected, and that really is what it's all about.
A history in stone, in steel, in the sea. Later, Crafton's widow, who was represented by a former Indiana Attorney General, sued White Star Line for $100,000, quite a bit of money in those days, but it's not believed that she collected anything. David McAnally, Channel 13, Eyewitness News.
Isn't that something? Yeah. So at least a Hoosier history on that. Well, you know, when anything happens in the world, there's always a Hoosier somewhere.